Hello. Hello. Maybe someone of you remembers me. I I have no excuse. I went on, I don't even know how to call this, hiatus. I'm German. I don't speak all too well English. I went abroad 9 months ago because I'm a lazy fucking hypocrite. And I'm back and I'm trying to fix things by, or more like change things by regularly streaming now and live coding. So, hi, if you found me, I'm D from D Project and I'm trying to learn Godot, get into, what's it called, game developing. And I do not have a clue where I left off. Let's see, I have my commit history. First enemy attack is not what this says. It says first attack. Meaning I was on building a player attack. Maybe let's just start the game, see what the progress was. Since the last devlog video, I continued developing a little bit, but as I said, I'm a lazy hypocrite. I didn't do much. 4, 5, you saw this jittering is, what do I call it? Unfinished spawning behavior every 5 seconds, I remember. I also can already lose life since I implemented hit and hurt boxes for these enemies. Ouch. And I'm done. And that's it for what is working for now. And I remember I made some things really fucking complicated. Okay, let's see. I was on working on an attack for the player. Maybe I should also talk about how I want to change my direction. Because signing in, yeah, no. Because I'm trying to change my approach. Originally I planned on making this game project, here it's called Arena Shooter, I'm calling it YAS, as yet another arena shooter, which was supposed to become the first real game which I could just like dump, since it probably won't be good, especially since I'm trying to learn the engine, first of all. Yeah. Hello? Oh no, okay. I thought I was I saw my second audio mixer. I thought I was muted the whole time. Okay, I think I'm just trying to get this very sporadically done. Like, this is my player, no additional players. I'm going way back to even more basic than I originally planned. This is my only enemy. Maybe I'm doing like a second enemy, like ranged based enemy, in order to learn something about this. And then I'm gonna throw this over and I think I'm gonna start a new project, just like to get really get into the engine and yeah, just learn stuff in order to be able to create a real game and not just, I don't want to call it shit, but it's not good, and I don't feel like it can become good. Okay, let's see. Basic player, here's my player. This is my state machines. I'm gonna have a look at the commit history again. Wave manager, wave manager. Okay, I didn't actually do anything just yet for this. Meaning I'm gonna try creating something new. Player. State machine is not where New state is okay. I do not need this. Maybe basic player. I'm already in player idle. Let's see. Where do I have this one defined? This looks more promising. They are moving idle. First question I'm already thinking about is, do I make attacks separate, or do I also put it into a state for the state machine? Because creating a state for it would already seem like it will create problems. For example, the moving state. Moving state could get impaired, and every time you attack, you just stop moving, something like this. Which is why I think I'm gonna try. Gonna try creating the attack separate. Do I? Yes, I think so, yes. And the other question is, how exactly? Because there is, I think I talked about it in one of the 2 devlog videos, there is something called composition in Godot, or probably somewhere else. But as you can see here, I have a hitbox. I have my, okay, this one is not as important, but I have the hitbox, I have a health component. This one also isn't not that important for this one, but as you can see, I already divided like useful components for my player into subcomponents, which I think should be a good tldr for composition. And I think box health component, I'm just gonna create like an attack component. Add child node. This is what I was looking for. I think it's just gonna be a node 2D since it doesn't have to do anything special. Let's see. The simplest thing you could think of, I think, would be projectile attacks, like left, right, up, down. Then again, I think my first thought about this when I planned on making this game bigger was like a radial attack, like a shockwave going out from the player and everything it touches. You know what? We're just gonna make both. I'm gonna start with the projectile thing. Rename projectile attack component. This and then I'm really struggling getting back into it, even though I never was in it that much. And I'm just gonna create I'm gonna create a new script, but at the place I want. Just gonna create it here. Script. Programming in C#. Projectile player projectile attack. Like this. I'm just gonna drag it inside here. Inspector might be out of date. Yeah, build. It wants me to build the stuff. And let's see. Script is here. This one is instantiated. Okay, let's see. I need something to instantiate in the first place. So I'm gonna say export. I have looked a little bit into things like instantiation and object pooling. For your information, object pooling is like you when I load into this scene and you do object pooling, you have like you have things like this enemy. You create like, I don't know, maybe 500 to 50,000 instantiations of this enemy, and you make them invisible or something, and you just take enemies from this inactive pool when you in I don't know how to call it, in quotation marks, instantiate them. You just take some from the inactive pool, set them to active, and make them visible, which should, in theory, reduce the what's it called? I just call it taxing on your hardware. Make it more performant. This is what I was looking for. However, Godot seems to be pretty performant when it comes to instantiating, which is why I'm just gonna go the instantiation route. Export. Let's make it a Node 2D. We can at least. It's a little very close, but I don't care. Node 2D, projector. I also have Copilot 3 for now. Maybe this changes in the future. Node 2D projector. Let's just call it prefab. Yeah. Like this. Export is the attribute, yeah. Attribute to make it show in the inspector. I don't even remember what the counterpart in Unity was. But doesn't matter. Okay. I have a projectile prefab. I need... Actually, I need some base stats, which I would take from the basic player. Move speed. Well, we will get into this. Projectile attack. Now we're gonna do public override void. We're gonna take a Godot intrinsic function. And I want the input event. Because I'm looking for... I don't even remember what my control was. Crazy. I think it was just WASD. Right. Get input. Let's see, it's gotta be in here. Is anything pressed? Okay, this seems to be like handled by Godot itself, because these I think are defined in the project settings. Project input map. Yeah. Left is just like I said, WASD. And I'm gonna what buttons do I use? I think just the arrow keys. Let's see, how exactly did this work? I see add new action. Fire left. This looks good. Fire left, fire right, fire up, and fire down. Dead zone. I don't know. I think this is important for controller users. Just gonna put them up a little bit. And then add left, this one. Physical or left Unicode, I don't know. I'm way not into it enough to know this, but this looks like the others and should be good. Right arrow key, fire up and fire down. Now we have those set up. Gonna go back in here. I already see this get input thing, which I called in physics process. And I think this is not a bad idea. Called during the physics processing step of the main loop. Physics process means that the frame rate is synced to the physics. Blah blah, it is only called if blah. Should be okay. Physics process, get input. Let's do it like this. Nope. Hell. I'll put this on the right. And I think I'm gonna delete this one. Okay, and then we're gonna do... What am I gonna do? I'm gonna do a get input like this one. Public void get input. Also, really important question. I seem to be too stupid to find this in the on the internet. If anybody knows how the fuck I can change this automatic layout stuff, please tell me, because I couldn't do it. Neither in my settings nor somewhere in the settings of the C# extension. Please, for the love of God, help me. Okay, public void get input. This stays empty for now. Because we're gonna create projectile. Create projectile. And good question. Let's leave it at this. Or maybe I'm gonna rename it get fire input. And then we're gonna use this one. Public override void physics process. I think I did it in the physics process, since registering these inputs shouldn't be that much of a problem in physics process, because things I remember from my again quotation marks college days are doing stuff in process, or formerly known as update in Unity, is something you should usually, or not usually, but you shouldn't most of the time do, because it process the normal process, this one calls during every frame, which would make it like 200 calls if you play on a high-end PC and have like 200 frames a second, which would make many things very quickly very imperformant or unperformant. And physics process seems like a better option here, because you also have the delta, which is used for especially for movement stuff calculating, because if you usually do movement programming, like very basic movement programming, and you do not multiply it with delta, you will get movement which is dependent on frame rate, which will definitely make you move faster on high frame rates and move very much slower on low frame rates, which is why you multiply with delta. And physics process just is called less often. It's not based on the frame rate, it's based on sync to the physics. An example, delta parameter will generally be constant, delta is in seconds. Yeah, so from the small paragraph I can read from this. What I understand is there is a fixed delta in which this function is being called for each frame. And I think the usual is like 50 to 60 calls a second, I think. Which is, again, way better than like 200 calls on a physics process. Or if you play a game like this one, which at the moment doesn't have anything, you can probably easily get to like thousands of frames, which just multiply the calls. Okay, but enough of this. Physics process. I'm gonna leave those base things. I don't know about those either, but I think they're important. Otherwise they wouldn't be generated. And we're gonna call get input, get fire input. Like this. What is going on? Oh, that's not a semicolon. Okay. I have this. Can I register anyhow? Get vector input. Let's consolidate the good old documentation. Godot get input using input event. Seems to be the even, yeah, was the original function I started writing. Process. Managing input is usually complex, no matter the OS or platform. To ease this a little, a special built-in type is provided, input event. This data type can be configured to contain several types of input events. Input events travel through the engine and can be received in multiple locations, depending on the purpose. Here's a quick example, closing your game if the escape key is hit. Okay, you know what? We're gonna unhandled input. It is cleaner and more flexible to use the provided input map feature, which allows you to define input actions and assign them different keys. This way you can define multiple keys for the same action. Blah blah blah. You can then more easily change this mapping in the project settings without updating your code. And even build a key mapping feature on top of it to allow your game to change the key mapping at runtime. You can set up your input map on the project. Yeah, we've seen this just now. What do we have here? See, this one is... I don't know if this would be best practice. It would definitely work for getting started and stuff. But later on could be a bit more of a problem. Let's see. This is what I was looking for. Input.isAction pressed. UI right. And another thing I'm a little bit bothered by is this here. This is like, what's it called? A magic value. I'm just calling it like this because there's a term magic numbers, which would be just putting straight numbers in functions. In this case, it's just a straight string, which isn't correspondent to anything. It's not a variable, you cannot change it or something if you want to. And what I'm currently missing is a way to get the editor settings, or somewhat of a way, like get the editor settings, get a list of all input changes reflected in the code, but I don't know if this exists or if this is even possible. Gonna throw this over again. Public override void. I'm gonna make it probably also physics process. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna make it just process. Doesn't have to be top-notch code for now. It's just for learning. Just has to work. And this is what I'm looking for. I think I'm gonna go or try switch on input. This input singleton handles key presses, mouse buttons, blah, object base class of all. Can I do like this? No. Okay. Then we're gonna go the extremely ugly route. I'm gonna make a few ifs. Let's go with input dot what did it show? Is action pressed? Oop, wrong window. Is action pressed? This, and we have fire left. We're gonna repeat this for all 4 of the firing buttons. 1, 2, 3. Fire right. Fire top. Fire down. So I'm not completely stupid. Fire left, right, up and not top. Up. And down, yeah. Alright. And then what? All of them have to instantiate a bullet or projectile. And I think I'm gonna make them call, yeah, sometimes AI is ahead of my thought structure, because that's what I was thinking about. A instantiation function which takes a direction, because then I can use those to just pass the direction in which the bullet or projectile has to face. Which is, we're just gonna take this. Vector direction, projectile prefab is null. Already build a null check in if it isn't set. Print error, projectile prefab is not set, and return. So this is a, I think it's called guard clause, because it's guarding the rest of the code to not uselessly run. Don't need this one anymore. And now I'm gonna have to look again how this instantiation stuff works. Projectile prefab dot in. Let's see, like this. Inside is connected, is node ready, get instance ID. Okay, let's see. How do I instantiate stuff in Godot? Godot How to instantiate an object. This looks good. In German, this is why this is being displayed as German question. So I'm trying to program Flappy Bird, blah blah. Godot ask questions way works. It's not the best and recommended way by the Godot devs, or at least what they say the docs is this way. Var pipe preload path spawn pipe. This is a preload. Add child instantiate. Load something very big or do it repeatedly during runtime. It can freeze your game. Small one-time things work fine though. As a beginner, I did not realize this, but you can even instantiate in a single line. Add child, this one looks like something more promising. So my memory rings something about resources. So let's have a look if I can find it. Instead of this, I'm gonna look for something of a resource. Packed scene. Packed scene looks like it could make sense. Projectile prefab. And there's the instantiate. Perfect. Global position. Set the position of the projector, set the rotation based on the direction, add the projector to the scene. Get parent will be the player. Optionally, you can set a velocity or other properties. The projector instance here. Does this make sense? Returns this vector's angle with respect to the x-axis or 1, 0 vector in radians. I do not know how to work with radians. Equivalent to the result of mathf atan to float float when called with the vectors vector2.y and vector2.x as parameters. Returns the angle of this vector in radians, which is what this seems to take. Seems good for now. Global position is a little tricky. I think I'm gonna extend this one. What am I gonna do? I'm gonna make a enum, probably. Private num player projectile direction. This, yes. Because I could probably go. I could go since I already pass the vector2 direction. Maybe I can check if the direction has a built-in functionality for determining the direction that it is facing. Direction dot round. So something like direction 2 returns the normalized vector pointing from this vector to 2. I think I could work with this. Let's see. Gonna remove this since it's unnecessary for now. I'm gonna create, hopefully this time, a switch statement on direction. This looks promising. Oh, this looks even better. Vector to left, n left equals vector 2 dot left. Left unit vector represents the direction of left. This looks good. This looks pretty promising. And this here doesn't look like it makes sense. Break. Okay, what do we have here? Projector instance rotation. No. I do not want rotation, I want to set the position. I'm gonna comment this one. I'm gonna remove all of those. And then projector instance dot global position equals, now I need the parent, since I need the position of the player. Private player, and do it like this. Then I need the order to automate it, override, void, ready. Ready could be too early. Called when the node is ready, an example when both the node and its children have entered the scene tree. Node has children, I think ready seems good. Enter tree could be even earlier. On instantiating, yeah, no. Let's go with ready. Oh, here. Get parent player, yeah, this looks good. Let's leave it at this. Class player, I think that is what the player holds. Basic player script, which should be, yes, of type player. Okay. So this one is set, and then we can take player dot global position plus. Look at this. Today Copilot works really good. Question is, how much is this 50? We're gonna see it. But we're gonna take this and copy it into everything else and just adjust the values right. It's plus 50. Here we take 0, and what do we have here? Up is plus 50, 0, and down 50. Like this. Then I don't need this anymore. And this hopefully should work. Angle. Okay, very interesting. And this should hopefully do everything I need for now. If I call the function, of course. Vector to left, perfect. Vector to right, up and down. Okay, let's have a look at it. Build. Of course, I need a prefab for this. Sprites, nah. I'm gonna just put it into the player folder. New scene, 2D scene, scene name, player project file. Okay. Empty 2D node, very good. Gonna add a child, moving. This is an add-on, how's it called? Add-on node. Because Godot is known to have a problem with jittering. Already explained it in a older devlog video. A child node, maybe sprite 2D. Okay, where are we? Here, texture. Was it texture? I think I'm just gonna take the player texture sprites. Circle is a little big, but we can adjust it. Offset. How do we adjust it? Is the good question. Visibility? No. My music die down? Yes. Hold on, I think Anaboon is most certainly not license free. Okay. Okay, let's see. Texture. Did I repeat? No. Material. No. Transform would be an option, but doesn't make sense, I guess. However, doesn't really matter, I think. Maybe creates problems later on, but not for now. Maybe we can look in here. Yeah, see this? 0.045. And I need the projectiles to be even tinier. 0, I don't know, 3? Oh. Oh. Weird. Did not want to pull out my scythe. Okay, sprite is existent. Now we need child node. What's it called? Collision shape. Collision shape, and collision shape needs a shape. And we're gonna wait a minute. I don't think we need this in this form. Let me look it up. I want to replicate this hit or hurt box, in this case a hurt box, which is area 2D. Collision shape is only for the enemies not to punch on top of my player. So we're gonna replicate the hurt box, which should be reusable. A child node, hurt box, area 2D with collision shape 2D. collision shape, and this one gets its shape. We're just gonna pull it to be over the sprite. And then let's see, empty load modules is where it is. Composition, red box. Like this. Then let's see, damage is 1, set to 1. If I am not completely stupid, which I very much could be, then this should already be okay for damaging these enemies, since I also put a health component here. But they do not contain a hitbox yet. Yeah, I need a hitbox to be able to take the damage. Child node, area 2D. I think it is an area 2D, is it not? Box, seems like it. Area 2D, yes. Collision. Collision shape. Gonna give this one a shape. Also circle shape. Gonna make it greenish, I think. We make we're just gonna make it green. Green. Just gonna turn off this in order to adjust the size of it, because it's really fucking small. Doesn't have to be this big. Maybe like this. Would actually be better if I put the what's it called, the collision shape a little to the left, but doesn't matter for now. And you get the load modules composition health component. And now the important thing is for disable mode removed. When node process mode is set to node process mode disabled, removed from the physics simulation to stop all. Oh, okay. This is for when you set the game time to 0 to make like a pause effect when everything is paused, and you can in fact put things. Yeah. How's it called? I don't know how to call it, but you can put this to a different setting, like keep active, to make it to make this particular, or more like this particular component still be active even though you put the game time to 0, which could be, I don't know, think of what was it called, Quantum Break, the time ability game. There you could go like set the game time to 0 to make every enemy and bullet and stuff stop, but put your player to keep active, and then you have like a simplified version of the time stop ability. Okay, let's see. I was on collision because I do not want this one to hurt itself and his oh god, and his fellow friends. And I have never worked very much with this. Time to consider the documentation again. Godot collision. Collision shapes, physics introduction looks better. In game development, you often need to know when two objects in the game intersect or come into contact. This is known as collision detection. Where collision is detected, you typically want something to happen. This is known as collision response. Godot offers a number of collision objects in 2D and 3D to provide both collision detection and response. Trying to declare which one to use for your project can be confusing. You can avoid problems and simplify development if you understand how each works and what their pros and cons are. In this guide you will learn Godot's 4 collision object types, how each collision object works, when and why to choose one type over another. This documentation example will use 2D objects. Every 2D physics object and collision shape has a direct equivalent in 3D, and in most cases they work in much the same way. Okay, collision object. Godot offers 4 kinds of collision objects which all extend collision object 2D. The last 3 listed below are physics bodies and additionally extended physics body 2D. Yeah. This is already important information. Physics bodies are also working based on the physics engine of the game engine itself, except for Area 2D, which we are using right now, because all I need is, like, I'm showing with my hands, but I cannot move my hands from my avatar. All I need right now is like just this projector, which moves by itself, and checks if something enters its area, and same way around for the enemy. Area 2D. Nodes provide detection and influence. They can detect when objects overlap and can emit signals when bodies enter or exit. An Area 2D can also be used to override physics properties, such as gravity or damping, in a defined area. This is also pretty interesting, because this is like, you can, like, what it tells you is, it can create like this area, invisibly, and when this enemy walks into this area, he can be slowed down because of the effect of the area. The area, what's it called? Area 2D node. Have to always see if I'm still in the playlist, because I do not want to get severely striked. Can't find it. Let's just hope I'm good. Okay. Let's continue. Static body 2D. A static body is one that is not moved by the physics engine. It participates in collision detection but does not move in response to the collision. They are most often used for objects that are part of the environment or that do not need to have any dynamic behavior. Yeah, like I said, environment objects. I don't know. Create a house and you do not want the house to move when the player collides with the house, so you just use static body 2D. Rigid body 2D is something else. This is the node that implements simulated 2D physics. You do not control a rigid body 2D directly, but instead you apply forces to it. Gravity, impulses, etc. and the physics engine calculates the resulting movement. Read more about using rigid bodies. This could be interesting for the next project I'm planning. When we're done with this simplified arena shooter, I'm trying to I'll try to start a breakout game. You know, those old games with the platform, you move with the mouse and there's a ball, you have to always bounce back. And rigid body 2D already sounds like I could and should use it for the ball. Since it will probably make the physics behavior easier for the ball. Character body 2D. A body that provides collision detection but no physics. All movement and collision response must be implemented in code. Provides collision detection but no physics. This is what I'm currently using for the player, which should be okay since it already it's already called character body 2D. But I also use it for the enemies, which I'm actually uncertain if this is a good idea, but it works for now. Physics material. Static bodies and rigid bodies can be configured to use a physics material. This allows adjusting the friction and bounce of an object and set if it's absorbent and or rough. It's not interesting for now. Collision shapes. I think we're gonna skip over this one. Physics process callback. This is what I'm looking for. Collision layers and masks. One of the most powerful but frequently misunderstood collision features is the collision layer system. This system allows you to build up complex interactions between a variety of objects. The key concepts are layers and masks. Each collision object 2D has 32 different physics layers it can interact with. Let's look at each of the properties in turn. Collision layer. This describes the layer that the object appears in. By default, all bodies are on layer 1. So let's see. I have this. It's on layer 1. And I think I'm gonna put it on layer 5. For now. So we are saying I should rename this. Hello? Can't find it. F2. Hitbox. This hitbox is on layer 5. Should also interact with layer 5, I hope. Which means nothing else will interact with this hitbox except for the projectors, which hopefully also I will set on. This can go away. Set to layer 5 if I do everything correctly. Collision mask. This describes what layers the body will scan for collisions. If an object isn't in one of the mask layers, the body will ignore it. By default, all bodies scan layer 1. Okay. Meaning that if I put this area 2D, which is a find it bird box. If I put this one to layer collision layer 5 also, and put the mask on layer 5. I think actually this doesn't matter, but I think it's better for the collision detections if I also put it on layer 5, since no, actually, yeah, I think it does matter if I understand correctly, because things like this player, for example, let's see, what is the collision here? This player hitbox has mask 1. Ah, this looks even more genius, I'll call it, because this way, no, it doesn't, because the other way was, or should be, hitbox is reacting to everything incoming which has layer 1. But nothing ever will interact with this hitbox if it enters them, because it doesn't have a layer and cannot be detected. Which is why I put this hurt box back, because for one, it has to react to the... It has to be recognized by the enemy. Actually, it doesn't have to, but I'm gonna let it stay to this for now. And it can be reacted upon when entering something else, since it is also on layer 5. Yes. Okay. Let's continue. These properties can be configured via code or by editing them in the inspector. Keeping track of what you're using each layer for can be difficult, so you may find it useful to assign names to these layers you're using. Names can be assigned in project settings, layer names, 2D physics. We're gonna go ahead, project settings, I already forgot the path, layer names, general, the settings, layer names. I think my Spotify just went bye-bye. Yeah, now it's back. Okay, layer 5 was enemy hurt box and projectiles. Close. And I do not see any descriptions here, but doesn't matter. GUI example. You have 4 node types in your game: walls, player, enemy, and coin. Both player and enemy should collide with walls. The player node should detect collisions with both enemy and coin, but enemy and coin should ignore each other. Start by naming layers 1 to 4 walls. Player, enemy, and coins. So coins is layer 4. And place each node type in its respective layer using the layer property. Okay, so they are getting put into different layers. Then set each node's mask property by selecting the layers it should interact with. For example, the player settings would look like this. Player is on layer 2. And he can interact with layer 1, which is the walls, 3 and 4, which is enemies and coins. Okay, this looks actually really smart and simple. But I'm scared of running out of space for layers with this approach. But it's 16 layers. Should actually be enough. Okay, let's say player, basic player, no box. Maybe this is okay. Collision shape, text, no, not texture. What am I doing? Collision shape. Where is the collision? Weird. Layer 1, and you are to interact with layer 2. Why exactly do I have this collision? Weird. Okay, I don't know. Maybe it's being used in the player here. Let's see. Collision. Project settings. We're gonna name layer 1 to player. Everything from the player, and he does not need to interact with himself. I'm gonna put this one on layer 2. He's gonna interact with layer 1, and 5 is actually a problem again. I'm gonna put it on the 1 for now, since the only thing that needs to interact with 5 is the hurt box. Collision. Layer 2 interacts with layer 5. Gonna rename the layer. This is getting really complicated really quick. Oop. What do we have? What else do we have? Hurt box. Okay, I see my problem now. It has to interact with layer 1. Because that's the hurt box, which will damage the layer, and this is the hitbox, which is supposed to... This is the hurt box. This is the hitbox, which is supposed to be recognized by the bullet. Hitbox, okay. Yeah, so this is gonna interact with the enemy. And this one should be good too. Okay. Code example. I don't think I want to look into this. Enough of this. Let's continue here. I have this stuff. I also need to set the how's it called? Velocity. Projectile instance dot transform dot again origin. This origin vector equivalent to area index. No. I'm looking for something like velocity. How did I do it in player? Basic player, get input, velocity. Okay. Type node. No, wait. That's not the right base type. Because this is not just a node. There's also the script missing, I'm noticing just now. That's the scene. This is the... This actually also doesn't belong here, since it's supposed to be called from the component of the player. This one, yeah. Now the next question is, how can I make it move? X and Y, that's just the position itself. Let's ask the internet again. Though maybe it can... It's just a packed scene. This also really is not. At least make it node to D. I instantiated this as node to D. So I'm looking to move the dough how to constantly move a node to D. 2D movement. Let's see. There they are using character body, which is not available right now. Just setting the velocity of the... Move and slide. Do I have a velocity from here? No. RPC. I'm gonna look again on the transform. Basis X form, determine and equals get type, interpolate with, spin it. Okay, now this proves to be difficult like this. What if this was an area 2D already? Area 2D, let's see if I have a better option here. Not here, transform dot here, also nothing. And I am out questioned how to handle this. This probably also doesn't contain a slide. Move child. Moves child not to give an index. Nah, that's some way else. Maybe I'm trying, since this projectile needs its own script, maybe I'm gonna try create new script. No! That's not what I wanted. Remove. Script. I want to change this one to... I don't know. Area 2D? Area 2D, new script. They are projectile. Like this. And then let's see, how can we go about this? Private. Yeah, let's stay at this. Public vector 2 velocity. Create a property. I'll make it very basic like this. And we're gonna... What are we gonna... How did I do this again? Velocity, and this is repeatedly being called then. The process. Is this right? I'm gonna have to look this one up. Move and slide method 2 years ago. Physics process. Very confused on how move and slide actually works. I've read the documentation, but they just scratched the surface on how it works. The first line of the docs for that function are move the body based on velocity. So, as it says, it moves the body based on the velocity. This is why the effect doubles when you call it twice. Because you've told it to move the body based on the velocity 2 times. Doesn't matter for us. I think you are... blah 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 blah. But based on this very one example, I'm gonna put this in physics process. Public override void. Physics process. Do I have a velocity here? Yes, finally. Velocity equals velocity dot normalized times what the hell? Adjust speed as needed. This is something for later because I can grab or set the... You know what, actually, I'm not gonna do it later, we're gonna do it now. I'm gonna make another property, private load projectile speed. I don't know, base speed 100. Public float, projectile speed, this. Gonna put in this. It's gonna be projectile speed. And then we're gonna call move and does not exist. How the hell do people do this? Godot move area to the bytecode. A few years ago. Use kinematic body 2D. Area 2D should not be used for character. For main character. No, that's not what our case is. That's how it is done in my first game tutorial. That was stupid. Godot move area to the bytecode. maybe... You know what? Let's try rigid body. We're here to test things. Rigid body 2D. Velocity, we're gonna stop this. Because usually there should be something like... Maybe I'm going by velocity, linear velocity. The body's linear velocity in pixels per second can be used sporadically, but don't set this every frame, because physics may run in another thread and runs at different... whatever. This is for rotating it. Impulse, apply, see, this looks better. Apply force. Applies a position force to the body. A force is time dependent and meant to be applied every physics update. Impulse to the body. An impulse is time independent. Applying an impulse every frame would result in frame rate dependent force. For this reason, it should only be used when simulating one-time impacts. I think I'm looking for torque. Applies a rotational force without affecting position. The force is time dependent and meant to be applied every physics update. Apply torque impulse. Applies a rotational impulse to the body without affecting the position. No, I don't want... Applies a directional force without affecting rotation. A force is time dependent and meant to be... Directional force without affecting rotation. This is impulse. Applying an impulse every frame would result in frame rate dependent force. For this reason, it should only be used when simulating one-time impacts. Good question. Maybe let's go with apply central impulse first in ready function. This is multiplied by delta. Good. We're gonna do this in the public override void ready. There is no delta because I don't need delta. Like this. Maybe we're gonna see. This has definitely draw. Wait a minute. Ready. Don't know why draw was filled in. Projector instance dot. I don't need node 2D. I need player projectile. Player projectile, and here we're gonna set the properties I forgot the names of. Dot velocity. We can actually I can set velocity after this switch case, since not every case has to do the same. This one, perfect. And projectile speed as well. Do I have player here? Yes. which means I need the basic player, not the basic player, but the even more basic player. The player, because here are stats for the player. Should be, but I'm gonna make it here because I think my thoughts back then were recreating those stats in each player variation in order to be able to also create some crazier variations when I need to create more, what's it called, more properties or stuff. Export, private, load, projectile speed. Let's say 200. We're gonna add almost. Don't know what this comment here is. Player dot. I did not create a thingy. Projectile speed. This, but no set. Since it's only, let's read only. We do not need to set this. Hello? Because it's inside the very basic player stuff. Okay. Changed my mind. Put this here, and then I should, yes, have this available here. Okay, now I'm setting velocity. I should actually rename this to, I'm gonna rename this direction. And this as well. Okay. Now I'm setting the direction, the position, the speed it is supposed to have in the beginning. This one needs a timeout. But for now we should, best case, see these projectiles be instantiated. Can I material empty new canvas item material? Yeah, I want to recolor this a little. I do not understand how to recolor this. Okay, I don't know. I don't even know where this was created now. But doesn't matter. Let's see. This projectile attack, you need the prefab. This. then we should be good to go. Oh god, what happened? Why am I here? Hell? What happened? Oh, scripts inherits from native type rigid body to D, so it can't be assigned to... Oh. Hehe. Yeah, that's not... Can I change node type? Node. Those are the signals, not important for now. Go change root node. Both manually in the editor and programmatically using... Here's how manual... Make this node the root node. Ah, okay. Add child node, rigid body 2D. Oh. Collision shape and stuff is okay. Move this here. Move up, reparent. Reparent. I'm verwirrt, wie man in Deutsch sagen würde. I am confused. Let's see, reparent to new mode, to a new node. Huh. Make scene root. Ah. Okay, I don't know why this was the one I was looking for, but okay. Child node, we're looking for again collision to D shape, which should actually but whatever. Circle. Can I disable this node? Disabled. I know in Unity you could disable nodes, though. Disable node. Using script, no. I'm just looking for disabling. I'm trying to implement a respawning static object in 3D. It's an energy wall. For convenience, I'd prefer to disable it on dev and re-enable it on respawn rather than freeing it and reinstancing it later. I'm not sure how to go about this. I'm pretty certain that node.hide only disables visibility and disabling process won't disable signals. Apart from just hiding the object, you can also disable it by calling the setProcessFalse function. Just bear in mind that if you disable the process of a node from within the node itself, you will have to re-enable the process by calling setProcessTrue from another script. I've removed child. Okay, this seems to be Very problematic. Which is why I'm saying fuck it. One-way collision. And just gonna let it stay here. Without a collision shape, it can collide too. So it just doesn't see a problem in all of this. Because what I'm trying to do later on, when this one will get its own timer. So if it runs out of, in quotation marks, range, or it hits an enemy, then it will destroy itself, or Q3 I think it's called here in Godot. I'm quickly gonna have a look here, cause I'm gonna have a look at my Discord. Okay. Let's see. Next try. Debugger gives me four debug messages. Object system runtime. Oh god. Unable to cast object of type rigid body 2D to type player projectile because it is missing the script. Player projectile. Next try. Ooh! Ooh! Something is definitely already happening. It just is happening wrong. But it's progress. Very minimal progress, but it's progress. Okay, I think I'm gonna end the stream for now. Actually not. I'm gonna make my commit first. Things I have learned, do tiny commits, so we can more easily change problems from the past. We have made a new feature, or started a new feature from, what do I call it? Player attack. So I know where to look. Enabled first projectile instantiation. Projectiles currently spawn without fire rate limitation. Wrong spots. Just say, and wrong spots because there's much more stuff missing, like the, how's it called, the velocity change, the impulse stuff, and timeout themselves, and so on and so on. But that's enough for today. And I think, how does it look tomorrow? If I stream tomorrow, it's gonna be probably around, what's it gonna be around? I think 8 European time or later. I think more realistically it will be Friday. Push. Submit. Now it's also on my GitHub. Yeah. Maybe now's the time to come back to the beginning of what I started speaking about. The last 9 months I actually didn't do nothing. I tried looking into how to build a company, or more like found a company, which is pretty fucking complicated, at least for me, because I don't understand everything in this country. And I'm trying to get it done by October. Doesn't look that good for now. And if I do, I will try to also bring more changes here. For example, I have made notes of probably creating a new channel, since this one is like private mail, because then I'll professionally do like a business mail, set up the account on business mail. We'll also try to create a Blue Sky account and set up a Discord for people to get together, maybe for myself to show up sometimes. And yeah, I'm just gonna try to put more effort into it, because it actually is what I'm so bad with words right now. This is what actually is fun to me, and if I'm brutally honest, I of course do hope to be able to live from this in order to quit my current job, which isn't bad, but it's also not the thing I want to do for the rest of my life. And yeah, I'm just gonna see how regularly I'll do these dev streams. And until then, I guess we're gonna see us again on Friday. Thank you for watching, and see you again.